All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this glimpse into my quarantined music production workflow. I've been making a lot of music while we've all been stuck inside, so I figured I'd make some videos showing you how it is that I do what I do. My first instinct was to make a video from scratch, show you from start to finish how it is I get from A to B, but I was having some issues with my recording software, so we're just going to have to drop into the middle of one of these songs that I've been working on, I think. If I do another one anytime soon, it'll probably be from scratch. So here's a song that I called I'm Very Bored. Here's, I think, the meat and potatoes of it, right around this area here. So let's kind of talk about what it is that I'm doing here. There's a couple of interesting things, a lot of cool samples that I've been messing around with. Most of what's happening in this song, I think, is sample-based. I really like messing with samples, cutting them up, and doing weird stuff to them to make them sound cool and different. Or if I'm feeling lazy, doing nothing at all to them. One of the, I think, the coolest parts of this song is this drum loop sample that I have here. Yeah, so that actually, there's some interesting stuff going on here. So this is
the story of a girl,
but it's recorded at 125 BPM. We're working at 140 BPM right up here. So when I drop it into Ableton, it naturally wants to kind of fix itself so that it sounds more appropriate with the time of our song that we're working in. That's what this warp button here does. If I unwarp it, this is the full regular sample. Yeah, the glitchy part comes from the algorithm that the sample is using to stretch out the sample. In Ableton, there are a couple different algorithms. I'm using Beats. If you know anything about Ableton, you're probably very familiar with these, but I'm assuming that most of you probably aren't. This one right here, the one that I'm using, it's, how do I explain this? It has to draw the sample out, right? It has to drag it so it fits across this longer timeline here. And in order to do that, what it does is it starts the sample, plays it, and then starts it over at a certain transient to make it seem as though, yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of this song. That sample, it didn't really do much to it. It's good for now. Another sample that we're working with here is this. It's like a piano and slash vocal sample. This is what it sounds like. Yeah, that's not the full sample. It's a lot longer than that, but I don't need the whole thing. But I do like that. I think I've also got the Beats algorithm on this one too. Let's see what it sounds like with Complex Pro. Keep it on Beats for now. Well, hold on. Let's try messing with the formants here. This will kind of just affect the way, I don't really know how to describe this. Formants are like this thing in that like give people's voices their unique kind of sounds, and it kind of tries to replicate that here in this algorithm. So let's just mess with that. I don't know about you, but that didn't really sound like it changed much of anything. We've also got some pitch shifting that we've done to this sample over here. Yeah, so I've pitch shifted these down a couple semitones to make it sound like it's kind of broken and off key, or maybe in a minor key. I don't really know. If you came here for an extensive lesson on music theory, you're in the wrong place, because I'm not classically trained. I'm just doing my best. But yeah, I think it sounds a little darker, a little weirder, and it fits for the next part of this song, which I'm not totally in love with yet. I may change it up a little bit, but yeah, one step at a time. So that's what we're doing here with these samples. This is a cool sample. Yeah, it's pretty trippy, right? So what I did was, I think I can't remember if I reversed the sample and chopped it down, or if I just chopped it down, and then I just drowned it in effects. A bunch of reverb here to make it sound more spacey, a bunch of delay to make it sound like it's, in a big space. We've got a saturator to help beef it up a little bit. This sidechain compression, which is on basically everything. It's being sidechained to this drum, which isn't even on anymore. But basically what that means is the audio from this sample is being ducked every time it hits this sample here. Maybe I can give you an extreme example of that so you can hear what I mean. Let me just... So if I take this threshold and I bring it way down... See what I mean? Yeah, that's fine. I just want some really weird... I want this song to sound really weird and spacey and like very like atmospheric and kind of uncomfortable, you know? That's what I'm going for a little bit. We've also got this synth up here coming out of Serum because I am too afraid to use any other synth. And it kind of just sounds like a clock, I think. Yeah, that's all it does. What's this down here? I don't even remember this part. Synth loop. It's not even on. Right. So let's work on making this song an actual song.
One eternity later.
Okay, so we've gotten a lot done on this song. I think I'm just gonna kind of keep it short and simple, right around 3 minutes. This is pretty much all of the bits that I like. Everything else outside of this little loop section, I'm kind of not really too in love with. I figured that the best parts were like the simplest parts, so I'm just gonna keep it, simple. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything that I've done for the song. We've got the main samples down here, which is this vocal sample. We've got the drum loop, which is running. It's been warped over my 140 BPM timeline with the Beats algorithm, making it sound a little glitchy. I also took it over here on this side and I chopped it up a bit to make things more interesting for this second part. And I put a filter on it, a high pass filter, getting rid of all the low end. I put saturate on it to beef it up, OTT to bring out, I don't really know what it does, it just makes things better. And I got some reverb on it. I chopped up parts of the main drum sample in an effort to make this kind of like a clap or a snare. You can kind of... Yeah, so kind of like a glitchy snare kind of situation. I also chopped up the vocal sample over here in this more intense part of the song. I chopped it up, pitch shifted it up a couple semitones, or an octave, looks like, and I doubled it, kind of harmonized it, pitch shifting it a few semitones apart to make it sound more interesting. I made a drum pattern that looks like, it's not really a drum pattern, it's a kick, I guess. I tried to take away as much of the kick and toms that were in the original drum sample, and I instead am using these two other completely different drum samples. This one and this one. We've got this effects sample that's rising in and out. I kind of chopped it up over here for the intro. I think that sounds pretty cool. So we've got this weird Serum thing that kind of sounds like a clock. Serum is everything. So we've got a few other synths going on over here. I think the main one that you're hearing in this more intense part of the song is this one. I don't really have a lot going on. I think I'm just side chaining it to one of the kicks. Yeah, so that's pretty much the song. I was kind of going for like a old school like Toonami bump music, Flying Lotus kind of vibe. That's kind of just like what was in my head whenever I was messing around with these two samples here together. And then it got kind of weird here in the middle. If I had more time, I would probably do another version of this second part of the song right here. This more intense part, I would probably stack that after the bit crushed first half. I would double this over here on this side, but I would change around some of the instruments, add a different sort of lead or melody, make it just kind of like this intense part, but a little bit different over here. And then you could probably fade out of this. Although I kind of like the idea of this being kind of meant to be played in a loop forever, because it's like bump music, right? It's just, or like elevator music from hell, you could just kind of listen, go into this first part and then have this loop play forever until you need it to not play anymore and just kind of fade out in the volume. That's the idea for this. This is what I was going for. I think it works. Let's take a listen. Yeah, so that's the song. Obviously, I haven't really mastered it at all. If this was like a more serious endeavor, I'd probably be doing a lot more stuff over here in the master channel. I didn't really mix it all that well either. I just kind of made it so that we're not peaking too much. You'd want to do some more mixing, but that's another video, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much the song. I hope you liked it. Hope you kind of enjoyed getting a peek into my brain, so how I kind of play around with these samples and do what I do. I really like cutting samples up. It's one of my favorite ways to make this kind of music. I have some hardware instruments and samplers and sequencers that I like to use for this sort of thing too. Maybe I'll do another video using those hardware instruments, show you kind of like how it is that I use those to do this sort of thing. That could be really fun too, because there's a lot of performance kind of elements involved with that as well. If you want to see more videos, let me know. That'd be cool. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Wash your hands.